You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Derry here from Drake Wing Gaming, or so you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you to the Let's Play episode of Polar Night. So, y'all, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm Chan, you are up, and let's go! Which one were we on? Alright. Get some air on the deck, look at the sunlight. Where do I go? Who was I going with? Figures. Is everyone dispersed? So let's just get some air on the deck. Okay. Alrighty. Sudden cold sent a shiver through me. It was even colder than last night. I could hear the engine now clearly, a soft hum just audible over the wind. What hit me most was just how calm it was. The wind was stronger than when we'd been in port, but the sea was still. Around us, periodic ice floes floated briskly by. The sound of a familiar, enthusiastic voice broke the spell. I looked over the bow and saw Stefan and Tabby. Stefan had his camera raised, snapping shots of the ocean and the moon. He paused every other shot to gesticulate and chatter. Tabby was nodding along, staring out at the view. My hand reached for my pocket, fumbling through it for a moment, my heart jumping a bit as I couldn't find my smokes. My hand closed around the pack and I sighed in relief, as I'd done more times than I'd like to admit. I pulled a cig from the pack with my teeth, flicked my lighter and drew. Familiar warmth filled me, followed by a pang of guilt. I knew this was terrible for me. I knew Mom hated it. But it never ceased to amaze just how quickly all reason and logic flew out the window when the drive hit. "Hey, Garrett!" Exhaling and silently swearing that next time would be the one where I quit. For the 50th time this week, I sauntered toward them, boots crunching the light dusting of snow and ice. "Stefan was just telling me how to line up the perfect shot." "Oh? He hasn't tried telling you about distant origins yet?" He gave the possum a smirk, and he made a dismissive motion with his hand. "What are you even taking pictures of? It's dark and we're in the middle of the ocean." "Don't you see it? The way the sea is so still, and the way the moon reflects little dots of ice." He tutted when all he got back was a pair of us giving him skeptical looks. "Philistines." Stefan snapped a few more pictures before lowering his camera. He peered at the screen on the rear, examining his photos. "First lighter is now photography." I gave Stefan a nudge as I sidled up to him. What's wrong with having interests?" "Lighters?" "Yeah, he knows about as much about my lighter as I do." "What's there to know? A lighter is a lighter, right?" I pulled my lighter out of my pocket to show her. "Belonged to my grandpa. Not a common lighter these days. This guy..." I nodded at him, drawing a cheeky know-it-all smirk. Knew it immediately. Kind of scary when you think about it. "Hey!" I smirked at his wounded look. He responded by rolling his eyes and going back to examining the photos on his camera. "This one's good. This one, nah." He browsed the images on his camera, discarding the ones that didn't meet his approval. "Alex wanted me to continue my photography. I'll bet he'll be sick of seeing sights like this by now, though." My eyes darted to Tabby. I knew very well how she felt about this business. To my surprise, Stefan seemed to realize what he said and gave an apologetic look. Sorry, Tabby. I know you aren't convinced." Tabby gave a dismissive wave. "It's fine. You don't have to justify yourself." Wow, she really was in a better mood today. Alex must mean the world to you." Though looking brighter, he still had a wistful look. "Yeah, he does. Since I was 8, he basically took care of me." "You mentioned that yesterday. He must be quite a bit older than you if he was your guardian." "He's 4 years older than me. When our parents died, we went into foster care." He sighed, switching his camera off and turning to lean back against the railing. Our foster parents weren't great, don't get me wrong, but Alex wanted to get us as far away from Vancouver, where we grew up, as quickly as he could. So as soon as he turned 18, he applied to become my legal guardian. Then he got a job as a chef in Ottawa, and we moved. He basically raised me alone from the age of 14 onwards until, well..." He looked away, hugging himself. His tail curled this way and that. I'm so sorry, Stefan. He sounds like a wonderful person." He paused a moment, clearly struggling. "I had to move back to Vancouver to stay with my foster parents when the Aaron went missing. He was sending me a stipend from his salary, and without it, well, I couldn't afford to live alone." He gazed into the middle distance, trailing off, maybe reminiscing. Damn. No wonder he was so attached to Alex. "But enough about me." In a flash, his grin was back, taking us both by surprise. "Enough sad stuff. What about you, Tabby?" Second, y'all. Water time. Oh, that's good water. "Me?" She seemed taken completely off guard by his sudden question. "Gail said you were studying mechanics, right?" She settled, biting her lower lip in thought. Yeah, Clark Uni. I work in a garage part-time, too. I admit I was surprised. Tabby didn't strike me as a gearhead. Although the more I thought about it, I didn't know what a gearhead would look like. I wondered if I struck anyone as a Sparky. Excuse me, what would a stereotypical Sparky look like? My mind was filled with images of mad scientist types with static electric frazzled fur and wearing goggles. That's neat. Know your way around an engine, then? A bit. Despite her vague answer, her demeanor shifted. She smiled more, making eye contact and uncrossing her arms. It seemed we found one of her preferred topics. Always loved fixing things. Gail was always the people pleaser. The ship might need you the way things are going. Yeah, definitely leaving a 1-star review. Me and Stefan exchanged looks, not sure how far to press. Look, I know you both know, okay? Gail isn't as subtle as she thinks. I do appreciate you asking if I was okay, Garrett. And I'm not ungrateful for you guys coming back to check on me. But it's not something I want to talk about, okay? Of course. I understand. That said... She had a thoughtful look, staring back at the Sylvia's lounge. I'm pretty sure functioning emergency lights are a legal requirement for ships. That's what I was thinking. And this morning the heating was off. Oh, I know that. I heard Garrett make the discovery myself. Gave me a toothy grin and Tabby smirked. Hey! To be fair, I think everyone heard Garrett. Oh, fuck you guys! We both chuckled as I burned with embarrassment. Although I admit it was nice to see them getting along, Tabby especially. What got you into mechanics then, if you don't mind my asking? Tabby thought for a moment. I guess Dad did. He taught me how to fix my bike when the chain came off when I was a kid. I guess it just clicked. Something nice about fixing something. The way it can go from being a useless object back to working order. Wish I had a skill like that. Nothing's stopping you. We lapsed into silence, gazing out over the sea. My hand moved automatically, placing the smoke between my lips as I drew again. Tabby gave me a withering look. Good thing Gail isn't here to see you. She'd probably swipe them from you. I'll bear that in mind. I offered her a smile as I finished. Should we out on the bulwark? Sorry, y'all. I'm gonna take a few more shots. Alex might not appreciate this view, but I do. Well, I need some warmth, as you so generously pointed out. I gave the pair of them a faux accusatory look. I've had my fill of the cold for one day. Don't act like you're pissed with us, Garrett. We see right through... Ow. Jesus, I'm yawning, I'm sneezing. What the hell's going on with me? We see right through you. Stefan snorted and Tabby gave me a smirk. I blinked, confused before I realized they were watching my tail. It was swaying behind me and I hadn't even realized. Traitor. I huffed, gave them a wave, and strolled back towards the lounge. Although I admit I had a bit of a spring in my step. Where do I go? To the gym! The gym was located near the cabins, also conveniently near the sauna and the laundry. Even before I opened the door, I could hear the clanging of metal on metal. As I stepped inside, the first thing that struck me was how cramped it was. There was a bench press, some free weights, a bike machine, and an elliptical trainer. The air was slightly thick with the scent of the other two occupants. Not unpleasant, but it did make me pause for a moment. Ah, here's the twink himself. No. Wrong accent. Oh, here's the twink himself. Good boy. Come to ascend to the heady heights of beefcake? Rufus was standing before a barbell on the floor, apparently in preparation to lift. Aaron was sitting on the bench doing bicep curls. They were both in their underwear. Easy, Garrett. My hand tugged at my fringe once again, and I pulled my sleeve down on my right wrist, making sure the scars are recovered. Remembering how they had seen my skinny wreck of a body made me blush furiously under my fur, and for a moment I hesitated, debating whether to leave and try something else. Try somewhere else. Like, water time. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Get your skinny ass in here. Come on in, Garrett. I promise we won't bite. The part of me that was recalling all those eyes on my body made me want to bolt, but the part of me that didn't want to humiliate myself by bolting had a bit of a teasing one. Barely. I stepped inside, standing awkwardly by the door as Rufus squatted, grabbing the barbell and slowly standing upright. He grunted, his face serious and concentrating as he performed deadlifts. I didn't know much about exercise, as my bony frame could attest, but I assumed his smooth, fluid movements were perfect form. Aaron, for his part, continued his bicep curls, grunting and counting under his breath until he reached 10 before placing the weight on the padded floor. Before you ask, we didn't bring gym clothes, so this is the next best thing. Not like there's loads of people in here to see us anyway. 10. The grunt, Rufus lowered the barbell back to the floor. Whoa! Not like working up a sweat in the morning. How about you, Garrett? Want to give it a try? I didn't hear him at first, on account of my skin being on fire and my heart racing. I could feel my tail already swaying, and it took all my might to make it stop, or at least not wag like crazy. He strode over to me, taking me by the shoulders and hustling me over to the barbell before I could protest. Might want to take those off. He indicated my clothes with a gesture. Imagine you'll be sweating up a storm in no time. Maybe I was shaking a little. The moment he raised the possibility of stripping off, the vague, embarrassed warmth in my skin turned to cold dread, and I pulled away from him. You okay? I was just kidding. You don't need to do nothing you don't want to. Aaron also looked a little concerned, cocking his head as he sensed my distress. No, it's fine. I'm sorry. I just don't like... My mind seized up as I tried to say being naked. Easy. I'm real sorry for pushing you. He took a respectful step away. Part of me was grateful. A certain wistfulness remained as his hand stopped touching me. He reminded me of someone, at least in build and species, who I'd seen at school as a teen. An older lad, keen footballer. He transferred in early in 6th year. I'd already discovered my bisexuality then, and knew very well it could not ever allow it to be discovered. The bullying was bad enough, but knowing I was into guys and also sharing a locker room would likely make me a pariah. Still, even though Servians weren't personally to my taste, it had been the first time I'd seen a guy in real life who'd made my heart race like that. No, it's okay, please, Aaron stood and walked over, but still kept a respectful space between us. Is this about me teasing you last night? 'Cause if so, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. No, really, I'm okay. It's not you. His eyes flicked down for a moment. I realized I was tugging hard on my sleeve, ensuring my scarred wrist was covered. I quickly stopped, burning harder with humiliation. In a way, it was much harder to deal with the scars on my wrist than on my face. It was harder to hide my eye, but at least people wouldn't think I'd hurt myself. Damn you, Connor. Anyhow, I was meaning to ask you guys about yourselves. Didn't get the chance to get to know you last night, what with the, drama? Guess there's already some friction, huh? What was that all about, anyway? He gave a wave of his hand, looking pissed. Like I said last night, my sister was a navigator. You can imagine how she got treated when the Iran vanished. Oh, yeah, I think I remember. Not as much shit as Captain McGregor got, though. That doesn't mean... He caught himself, quickly huffing and folding his arms. I spent 2 years watching them autopsy her life while her body is out there somewhere. If anything good can come of this, I want it to be an end to all the rumors and conspiracies. I got hate mail, you know that? Seriously? Hate mail? Dana got it too. And yeah, probably worse than me, but that doesn't make it easier to deal with. Wait, why hate mail? Were you paying any attention to the inquiry? What could I say? I hadn't really. Mum had, but then she'd not exactly paid much attention to the specifics. Second, y'all. Water time. Damn, son, that's some good water. Just whatever kernels of hope she could cling to. Christ, so there were rumors that Carrie was seeing someone on board. That she got distracted. People sent you hate mail? Well, who the fuck else are they gonna send it to? Carrie is dead, so she can hardly read it, can she? He caught himself again, this time a few taps of the paw on the matted floor to escape before he brought himself under control. I just want to get some closure. I don't know if I'll be able to cope with both Dana and Stefan on board. He made a dismissive gesture with a hand. Stefan is nice enough and all, but God, I hate that attitude. What's this about Stefan now? He has some ideas, about things. Rufus gave me a blank look. Weird ideas. Weird as in, like, pineapples on pizza, or weird as in Atlantis is real? I mean, I wouldn't put either past him, really. Either way, I mean, I like him well enough. He seems like a decent sort, but his conviction is annoying. What? Why? Believing in something is good, right? Okay, conviction is the wrong word. Delusion is more like it. I overheard Gale last night. I can understand holding on to hope while acknowledging it's a long shot, but... There's a difference between that and just flat-out denial. I can't say for sure I didn't know him before all this, but it's pretty clear to me it's a maladaptive coping mechanism. Rufus's eyes glazed a bit when he heard the long words. He needs a coping mechanism that can make things worse. Right. He smiled in understanding. I wouldn't say the lights are on, but no one's home, but... he's probably smarter than you give him credit for. I guess that's a way of putting it. Look, can we drop it? Oh, sure. How about you, Garrett? Just an electrician, nothing much to say. Oh, not a college kid? Actually, I'd have pegged you for a bad boy, what with that scar and all. My stomach clenched and Aaron's ears dropped with loud thumps against his shoulders in shock. His eyes darted from me to Rufus and back again. Like, damn, kid, I hope you fucked up whoever did that to your eye. Chicks will be into it, though, I'll bet. I don't know if he even noticed my now wide-open jaw. Aaron, for his part, seems to absorb all the horror I'd usually feel into myself, shrinking back as though expecting me to explode. Rufus puts his hands on his hips and gave me a big, goofy grin. Aaron, the poor guy, looked like he was about to bolt when something in me just snapped. I snorted, covering my mouth to try and intercept the laugh before just surrendering and blowing it all out. What's so funny? Garrett, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine, just... I struggled the words out amidst another fit of laughter before calming myself. I don't know what triggered it, maybe just how oblivious the big dunce was. Aaron looked relieved and gave a nervous laugh before finally brightening. I felt another pang of guilt about how I'd snarled at him yesterday. Fuck, I was oversensitive about my eye. So, about your sister, Hannah, right? I saw the look he gave me before turning to Rufus. I guess it was sweet of him to move the topic away. Huh? Oh, yeah! His smile faded and his eyes misted a little. She was always the brains of the family. Could have been whatever she wanted, I reckon. But she loved the sea. Always did. Mine and Aaron's smiles cracked as he looked into the middle distance, reminiscing. Never heard nothing but the best about her out of the fellas she worked with. And she worked a job that's still a man's world, near enough. Ain't no way she let anything happen to the crew if she was able to stop it. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave a super thanks or tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!